Hi, friends. I'm John LaCroix, owner and race director of the Human Potential Running Series. Thanks for joining me today. This is the course preview video for the Sheep Mountain Trail Runs that takes place annually in August in Fairplay, Colorado. We're excited to host this event as we have since 2015, now with a half marathon, 50K, and 50-mile event. Our maximum runner capacity is 300 runners, and our start-finish line is near the town of Fairplay Beach. What I'm going to do today is go through the course with you so that you folks know what all to expect in running the Sheep Mountain Trail Runs, in the hopes that this will help you stay on course, on track, and understanding the many nuances that make up this course. So let's hop into it. First, I want to direct you to the Runner's Drive. This is linked to on our website. It'll also be provided to you in post-race communications. Here you can find the runner's manual, crew driving directions, a crew and pacer handbook, our emergency action plan, previous year's results, a Google map of the course, which could be helpful if you prefer to use Google Maps. I also have PDF maps that you can download and print. This one's a little bit of a different orientation. The first two are actually. So I'm not going to use these so much in our talk today, but also I want you to pay attention to our aid station charts, which has the mileage you'll be at each of these aid stations, as well as cutoffs and what you may find there. Also want to point out our elevation profiles for these three distances. Another really important document for you is the runner navigation document. This details how you can use your smartphone technology to live track yourself on the course and remain found using your smartphone. We use CalTopo and Colorado Trails Explorer and also Gaia GPS. We also have some directions at the bottom of this document on how your loved ones, your family and friends, are able to live track you using your technology as well. For the purposes of our discussion today, I'm going to use these printable maps to show you how this course works, but mostly I'm going to be using my CalTopo map for this. So let's turn all the routes off but the half marathon. That is the one that I want to start with. The half marathon route is an out and back route. It starts at our events flat, which is here in Fairplay. As you can see here on your screen, there is a massive gravel lot. This is the parking for the event. It's also our campground. Everything's right in there. And most of you folks are going to drive in this way. I'd like you to drive into this main entrance to this area. You'll see a control point symbol. That is where our start-finish line is. And so I want to ask everybody to please do not try to enter into this area from this direction. We'll also have two porta potties for your use near the start-finish line on race morning. So the half marathon, I will be honest with you, is primarily on dirt roads. This is not a traditional trail race like most of you would expect, but I still want to go over these areas. Also, the half marathon, which is again an out and back, shares the same first 7.5 miles as both the 50K and the 50-mile races. So if you're in the 50K or the 50-mile, your first and last 7.5 miles is on this road section. So let's take a look at this area. The first thing I want to point out to you is not to miss this turn. Over the years, we mark this well, but some folks like to choose their own adventure and head up this way. That's the wrong way. You want to make sure you make this hard left. We do mark it well. You should be able to see it in the morning, but on your way back in the afternoon, we will have reflective tape crimped to the surveyor's flags that we hang. Your headlamps, if you're in the 50-mile or 50K, your headlamps should be able to reflect off of that tape pretty easily. So again, this is mostly through an area known as Foxtail Pines. There's another critical turn at this junction, another critical turn at this junction. And I want to point out that it's really important for you to plan to bring some of this technology to guide yourself through this neighborhood. We do market well. We market as late in the day, Friday, as we possibly can so that nobody messes with the ribbons. And over the last handful of years, no matter what, especially through this general area, our ribbons have been moved or completely removed from the course, leaving you all pretty helpless. But I'll tell you, one of the areas that our ribbons have been moved is right here. A couple years ago, somebody moved the ribbons and led you guys up this road, which is a dead end, thankfully, but definitely gave you reason for concern. So I just want to point out to you all to please, again, it is ultimately up to the runner to know the course. We do our due diligence, we market well, but we cannot monitor 35 miles of U.S. Forest Service county roads and trails to ensure that the markers remain present. So I just wanted to put that out there for you all. This is a big point, though. This is Foxtail Road. We do have a water stop here. I do tend to get out in enough time to catch most of you in the morning so that you hit this on your way outbound. There will be water here only. No electrolyte drink, just water. And it will be there again for you on the way back. This is the Foxtail Water Table. Around the corner from this table is probably our most important turn of the day, and this is the turn that gets you onto Thompson Park Road. I want to zoom in here so that you can see that this is actually a trailhead. This area here is a trailhead parking lot. There is a house on the corner. They don't mind us. They're really supportive. So there's that. But do note that you will, here it is actually, you can see the boundary fence that the Forest Service put out. So this is a trailhead. You're going to go through this. And now you're not so much on a dirt road, like a dirt county road that is pretty hard packed. This is about 4.5, 5 miles into your outbound route. So the next 2.5 miles are on what is called a fire road. So this is a U.S. Forest Service fire road that goes through this giant meadow, and then you duck into the trees here. There is another critical junction. We mark this really well. Nobody tends to mess with that, but you swing around. And remember, this is an out and back course, so we mark this heavy for you all to make sure that you make the turn. I want to make sure you know that in this area, the mosquitoes are usually really bad, so plan on that. This is actually a ridge that you run up and over. So you folks will head up and over this ridge and down this hill. This hill here that you'll be on running down through here is actually really rocky. There's a lot of tiny baby head and chicken head rocks throughout this entire way down into the main aid station. In the half marathon, it is the most technical portion of the course, but eventually this will dump you down into this dispersed camping area where the Horseshoe aid station is. That is 7.5 miles in. There will be a porta potty at this station, as well as a fully staffed aid station tent where they'll take your number and everything else. And if you're in the half marathon, this is where you turn around and head back, retracing the way that you just came. Okay? Now, from here, I just want to zoom out so you can see that in totality. There it is. Again, this is an out and back course. You start on a little bit of pavement. That pavement turns into hard-packed dirt county roads. There are many critical turns that we mark heavily. We want you to note that we have experienced course vandalism in the past, so it would be best if you brought the course map with you printed out. Again, I want to show that to you, that the course map shows very clearly all the different roads that you would navigate around to get out to that area. So if nothing else, please download and print this map and have it on you so that if somebody does remove or move ribbons, you will know exactly where to go. Also, this map highlights in this area all the various social trails and other official trails in the area to make sure that you don't accidentally go down those, okay? Really important. If you're new to trail and ultramarathon running, especially half marathon runners, if you're new to trail running, this really is the dipping your toes in the water race. I just want to make sure that you're aware that in most trail events, it is a rule that it is up to the runner to know the course. Again, as a race director, I agree. It is my duty, my obligation to make sure that we mark the course to the absolute best of our abilities, and we do that. However, moose and elk and deer do like to eat the surveyor's tape that we put out there. Hunters, other trail users, children who think it's funny will remove those ribbons. They will take the ribbon off of one bush and put them on another to send you down the wrong way, thinking that it's hilarious that they do that. It happens far more often than you think. My goal here is not to alarm you. It is to make sure that you are aware that these are the realities that we face in trail races. And it is best to prepare yourself. It is the reason why I'm making this video, and I give you so many resources to be able to live track yourself on this course to make sure that you stay on track and stay found. Thank you so much for your understanding of the realities that we face as race directors and runners. Again, let's go back. There is a water-only aid station here. Turn onto Foxtail, then you turn onto Thompson Park Road, really technical down into here, and then there you are into the Horseshoe Aid Station. And again, if you're in the half marathon, that is your turnaround. You head back the same way that you came. But what if you're in the 50K or the 50 mile? Let's start with the 50K loop. There you are. You can see it on your screen all the way out to the Horseshoe Aid Station, which we just guided all our half marathon friends to. Now let's check out the rest of this race. And what I want to do is turn on our hybrid, and I also want to turn on some shaded relief so that you folks can get the depth of the actual mountain that you're going to be on. Hopefully this gives you a better idea of the topography that's a part of the 50K run. So here we go. You're going to leave the Horseshoe Aid Station, taking a right onto County Road 18, also known as 4 Mile Creek Road. There is a campground up in here that you want to look out for. But you come up the road, and then there is a hard left that sends you into the Limber Grove area. Let me actually zoom in. You can see the little tent there that's indicating where the campground is. See that? The little campground road. So just past the road that leads you into this campground is the Limber Grove Trailhead. This trailhead is actually a pretty recognizable trailhead. You see it there. There's a couple cars parked in there. It's actually a really busy trailhead. And what I do is we hang a lot of ribbons through here to get your attention, and we put some laminated signs. Usually those laminated signs go here and here, and people still run by it. You do not want to miss this turn. This road heads up to the Mount Sherman Trailhead. You'll go quite a ways before you've realized you've messed up. We've had it happen before. So please do pay attention in this area. Again, let me zoom out. Okay, so now you're going to head off into the Limber Grove area, and this will put you out into this rubble field. Looks like the moon. Tons of really sharp, big rocks and boulders all throughout here. Also, thousands of year-old trees. There's trees in here that are just thousands of years old. They're very cool. Super neat area. Take your time, and then eventually you're back into the pine and evergreen forest, which will lead you to Kissing, the Horseshoe Campground. This is the Horseshoe Campground proper, operated by the U.S. Forest Service. So if you miss your turn here, Again, there's a critical turn right at this junction. If you miss it, you just end up in the campground. You'll know that you've messed up. So there's a big turn right here. We want you to take that hard right, and you'll start climbing Sheep Mountain. It used to be straight up. There's a lot of switchbacks. Eventually, you get above tree line. You go past some old mining sites, some old mine shafts. Be very careful. If you investigate, do so carefully. Stunning views of the surrounding terrain in here. And then as you're up high on this section, you're going to hopefully have a sweeping view of the Collegiate Peaks, Pikes Peak, and the Sangre de Cristo Mountains all to the south. Truly beautiful views in that area. Notice that you don't go to the summit of Sheep Mountain. You go by the summit of Sheep Mountain. So just below the summit, you get onto this ridge line. You're going to see a radio tower somewhere in this area. Keep on running down, and you'll come all the way in to the Browns Pass aid station location. If you're in the 50K, when you get into Browns Pass, this is where you take a hard left and head down the hill. It is only 2.6 miles down to the pasture aid station from here. But and you would think that running downhill, you're going to make up all kinds of time on this road. But in that area that I just highlighted in blue, it is incredibly rocky, and the rocks move. The rocks are chicken heads. They might look like a bunch of arrowheads strewn about everywhere. It's pretty technical, and you may not find a lot of running in there. You may find yourself walking, and that's okay. Be patient. But eventually it kind of levels out and turns to more dirt. And this area you can run and make up some awesome time. So have at it. Open the guns and head down into the pasture aid station. After you leave pasture, you're going to swing around. Again, at first, this is a dirt trail that starts to get rockier and rockier the further down you go on it. And then at this point, there is another critical turn. It is a hard left. Okay? So you're going to take that critical hard left turn. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Here we go. So you're going to take this critical hard left, and you're on single track trail through a very soft pine forest. Really wonderful area. Can be really hot in here, however. And then eventually it gets rocky again. So in this area where I'm tracing now, it's very rocky. Baby head boulders until you get here. And through this next stretch, I'm going to highlight in red. This is all brand new trails the Forest Service recently built. A lot of the rocks and roots are removed from it. It's a great trail. And then you kind of get back up here, and you're back running through some avalanche debris fields, some more rocky areas, but it's pretty chill. And then you end up hitting this trail that you climbed earlier. Remember, I want to show you that earlier you came in this direction and went uphill. And over the years, we have indeed had some runners get to this location and for whatever reason decide that we should go back up. And they end up back at Browns Pass and they get super pissed off that they went off course. I've improved the signing in this area that hopefully it's easy to see and understand, but you go down. And now you're backtracking back through Limber Grove, through the Rocks of the Moon, Limber Grove Trailhead, on to County Road 18, and then here you are at the Horseshoe Aid Station. And when you get at Horseshoe, from here in, you're just retracing your steps across Thompson Park Fire Road and then the county dirt roads all the way in to the finish line. Now at this point, I'm going to switch back over to the 50K. I'm going to the 50-mile map. And as you can see on this map, again, we've got our route in from town, which gets us out to Horseshoe Aid Station. And again, this is our half marathon turnaround. And if you're in the 50K, I'm just going to highlight the 50K loop that I just discussed for you now. Generally, there you go. That's where it is. All right. But obviously, the 50-mile loop heads further south. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 50-mile runners from the Browns Pass aid station at this point and bring you around this course as best I can, segment to segment. So, first I want to point out again that our 50-mile friends, just like the 50K, you're going to come out from town the same route as the half marathon. You're going to leave the Horseshoe Aid Station. Make sure you take the turn at the Limber Grove. Come through the grove. Climb the mountain below the summit of Sheep Mountain. And then you're going to come all the way in to the Browns Pass Aid Station. At this point, the 50K took a hard left, but those of you in the 50-mile, you're going to take a hard right. So that's where I'm going to start you from, is this hard right at Browns Pass Aid Station. Of course, check into the aid station, and then when you leave there, you're going to run down this really steep forest road that has a lot of off-camber segments, deep ruts from side-by-sides and ATVs. It is short, and you eventually come down into this valley, this park, and you're going to take a hard left and continue down through this valley. When you get to this junction, there is a Forest Service wire somewhere in here. There is a creek crossing. Kind of goes this way. That's the creek. Let me change these colors for you so they make more sense. So again, we've got the creek that flows through. There's a Forest Service wire here. There's a road. The road you're on continues in this direction. That is not for you. You guys are coming down through this valley and taking this right-hand turn, which brings you up and over on this little ridge and down through here. In this area that I'm at right now, it gets really rocky just at the end, and then you arrive at the 12-mile water-only aid station. I will have a water cooler here with a couple of 5-gallon jugs of water. You're going to have to fill the water yourself if you need it. It's still a ways to Watrous. I just wanted to point this all out to you. So again, leaving Browns Pass down the steep hill, hard left down through the valley. When you come to the wire, the fork in the road, you're going to take a right and cross the creek, and then you're on this fire road coming down through to the water-only aid station known as 12 Mile. Eventually, depending on when you watch this video, this fire road through here is actually going to be turned into a single-track trail by the U.S. Forest Service. So it will not be a drivable road. It will turn into strictly single-track. You should note that there are a lot of areas in here where there are massive mud puddles and stuff, especially if we've had a wet spring or a wet July. Don't be surprised if you see a lot of mud in there. And here is our gap between the 12-mile aid station locale and our Watrous aid station. A reminder that 12 Mile is water only. It is unmanned. There's no staff there. Watrous aid station is fully staffed. There will be volunteers there to assist you. From 12 Mile, you head through the Moose Wallow. This is the most active moose area on the entire course. Please be careful. It is rugged and remote. The trail is sometimes hard to follow. However, mountain bikers have been using it a lot more lately, and it's becoming easier and easier to follow over the years. Through a very flat area, there really is nowhere else for you to go until you get to this critical junction that I'm at right now. And when you get here, it is a hard right, and that goes over a creek. Again, there is a Sheep Creek comes down through here. There is a bridge. So again, you're going to come down through this valley and take a hard right. The other thing I want to point out that this is known as Cave Creek, and there is a beaver pond in there, and you're going to kind of run around that. And now you're going to climb this hill through the most amazing aspen grove you've ever seen in your life. I really do believe this is like one of the most beautiful sections of trail in the entire Human Potential running series. And you're going to run through this aspen grove all the way to the Watrous aid station. Things get a little different from Watrous to Round Hill. Again, here's Watrous, here's Round Hill. I want to note that Round Hill is the first place that 50 milers can see a crew. Pacers are not allowed to jump in here. Please do not send your pacers to your crews to Watrous. The road is rather technical and it requires high clearance to even get to. But leaving Watrous, you're actually on a dirt road. And at first it is a Forest Service road, and you end up into a mountain community down here where the road turns into more of a hard-packed dirt road. Then we're going to come out to what's called County Road 22. That's where I'm at right now, and the course swings hard left onto this county road. I want you to know that this county road is the hottest part of the day. The sun is always beating down on you. It can be slower than you think, but this is a great place for you to pick up some time, mostly downhill all the way to this river area. And again, this is a wet area that you're going to kind of pass through. You won't get wet. Obviously, you're on a county road. But then out of here, you climb this hill to get up to Round Hill. Round Hill has a strict cutoff in the afternoon, which I believe is 2:30. Let me look at that for you. I want to make sure you know. 50 milers, Round Hill, 2 p.m. Pardon me. Strict cutoff, 2 p.m. You'll probably see me there. I'm always there. Round Hill, full service aid station. You can have crews. Now for the crux of the 50-mile race, the journey from Round Hill, which you can see down there. Let's cover the first part of it first. You're going to climb this gravel hill that turns into dirt fire road. It's not super technical. You're going slow anyway, but there's a lot of really neat switchbacks through this area. And then you kind of level out, and it's chill for a bit. And you'll love it. And the beautiful sweeping views that look off in this direction are truly second to none. Just amazing views of the Mosquito Range, which is out here, and then the Buffalo Peaks Wilderness down to the south. Just stunning. But then you take this hard right-hand turn. There it is, that hard right-hand turn. I mark it really well. People still miss it. Don't walk over it and continue on this trail. That is not the course. If I catch you in this area, I'm going to turn you around. If your Strava indicates that you did this area, you're a DQ. You didn't run a course. You must do this hill I'm about to describe to you. You take this hard right-hand turn and you climb this hill. And there's every time I've got to be at the top. No, there's false summits. You'll hate my guts, I swear, till you finally reach the top of Round Hill. From the top of Round Hill, again, I want you to know that this entire stretch here, it's a lot. The sun is on your back, hottest part of the day, a lot of steep climbing. It doesn't show up on the elevation profile like it should. If we want to take a look at that elevation profile, let me get rid of that. It is here. That is the climb, and that is the halfway point. Completely changes the game, changes the entire course for you and those of you in the 50 mile. But once you get to the top of Round Hill, you can see that it is generally downhill running or rolling terrain. This area I just got to is called Breakneck Pass. You take a hard left and then a hard right. I marked that really well. But this is all rolling terrain. It's very runnable. It's still rocky through here, but not as rocky as other places. You can totally run through here. But you keep going, and then this eventually turns into single track. You climb up this little hill and then down into Browns Pass aid station. You'll be so happy to see this crew again. You really will. This is like a life-saving moment. And then you leave Browns Pass downhill, like I told the 50K runners. This first stretch is really rocky, chicken heads and baby heads, not the most stable. You'll probably walk it until you get to the dirt that levels out, and it's pretty smooth sailing down into pasture. Pasture aid station is the next spot where you can see your crew. You can also pick up a pacer there for the first time. And now you're back on the same course as the 50K runners that I was highlighting before. You leave Pasture aid station on this forest road that gets rockier the further in you get. And then it's a hard left off of that onto single track trail through some soft pine forest. Then it gets rocky again, and you're back to climbing up Sheep Mountain. Single track trail across through the old mining remnants, old avalanche runouts, and then this critical junction that I mentioned earlier. And it's important, again, that you take a right and head downhill. Back by the campground, take a hard left, across Limber Grove, trees that are thousands of years old, rocks that make you feel like you're on the moon, and then down onto County Road 18, taking a right all the way into the Horseshoe Aid Station. Again, you can have crews here, Horseshoe number 2, and you can pick up a pacer or switch out pacers here at Horseshoe. So again, if you're in the 50 mile, you can have crews at Pasture, crews at Horseshoe number 2. You can pick up a pacer at Pasture, switch them out at Horseshoe, or pick up one at Horseshoe 2, and they can accompany you into the finish line. And again, the route into the finish is the same as it was for the 50K and the half marathon. Sorry, I'm going in and out here. My mouse a little wonky, but again, here's our Horseshoe Aid Station. Here's our finish line. At first, you climb up this technical hill over the ridge, and then you're on a smooth, buttery forest fire road, nothing but dirt and dust, and then you're on the county hard-packed dirt roads all the way back in to the finish line. And again, we hang reflective tape on our surveyor markings so that you can find the way back in the dark. That is our course preview for the Sheep Mountain Trail Runs, held annually in August here at the Human Potential Running Series. I do hope you can familiarize yourselves with CalTopo, play around a little bit, check out the course, mess with all the different layers that you can put on here, from satellite to Google Terrain. Again, shaded relief. You can see how different it is with and without it. I would love for you to do your homework as a runner by checking out the materials that have been provided to you. That is the course preview for the Sheep Mountain Trail Runs, held annually in August here at the Human Potential Running Series. I look forward to seeing you all. If you haven't signed up for the race yet, it's something that you're thinking about. This is one of the most stunning courses that we have. It is absolutely beautiful. And what we have called it over the years is beautifully difficult, especially if you're in that 50 mile. I wouldn't say that the half marathon is actually a really great race to use to dip your toes into the trail and ultra marathon running and see what it's like and be a part of our community and our culture and have just a wonderful day in the mountains running at altitude. Awesome course for that. Great course for half marathon PRs in the mountains. So please, by all means, join us for that. I've personally run the 50K at Sheep Mountain. I had a wonderful time. I loved it. It is technical in places. It is rocky in places. But overall, the Sheep Mountain 50K is an incredibly enjoyable run. And I would say that the 50 mile is definitely a different animal. Definitely a difficult high mountain 50 mile race. One of the highest 50 mile races in North America. There is a surface for everybody in that race, from pavement to hard-packed dirt roads to technical trails to buttery smooth single-track, creek crossings, beaver dams, moose wallows. There's just a little bit of everything. Aspen groves that are unlike anything you've seen. I promise you, this is a beautiful race, well worth the effort. But I want to make sure that we're clear with you that the 50 mile is a different animal. And do come into the 50 miler understanding that it's a difficult race, and it's going to take you a little bit longer than you probably think it is. And that is by design. That's what we do here at HPRS. We create courses that will challenge you physically and mentally in the hopes that it makes you a better human. Thanks so much for joining me for our course preview. I hope to see you on the trails at the Sheep Mountain Trail Runs. For the Human Potential Running Series, I'm Race Director John LaCroix.